I thought it was amazing. It was really well done, and it was definitely a story that I've never heard before, that I don't have any experience, any exposure to, even though I have learned a lot about World War II and taking classes in school about it. It's something that you don't get to hear about. You hear about the women back home and their changing roles, but you don't necessarily hear as much about women actually going into the war zones and this whole reporting, and even just the nursing side of it as well. I think it's very interesting.
It was a story I was not familiar with, and I thought it was fascinating. I knew there had been this kind of transition in women reporting since World War II, but I really wasn't aware of the struggle that they had gone through, and kind of the subterfuge that they undertook in order to get into the front lines. I thought it was a fascinating story and kind of heartbreaking.
I was not aware of the stories of these women, and they're incredible stories, they're powerful stories. And I did know the role of women in terms of World War II, that the women that took over roles that men had vacated because they were serving in the war, but I didn't realize the stories of women journalists who fought so valiantly to participate and to tell a very different angle to the war story, and I was very moved by it.
I thought it was phenomenal, and I thought it was something that a story that really needed to be told. It was a film that had many layers to it, not just women and reporting, but also what happens to society and human beings as a result of war.
It's women's experiences, and that was the most wonderful part, not just their experiences and life stories, but how they were the ones who were in a way forced to discover, because they didn't let them go where they would have gone with the guys, to see what war is really about. And that was throughout the movie and in the questioning brought out that the war is about what happens to people, to the people who get bombed, to what happens after the war, how it leads to the next war, and all this, the women were needed to ask those new questions.
It made me think in a different way about the war, but also of the unintended consequences of segregating the women war correspondents.
I really enjoyed the film, and I wish that I brought my 13-year-old daughter to get inspired.
Our children and our children's children don't remember World War II or any of the information that came out of there, and they probably don't even remember Vietnam. And I really hope they see this, because I think it will help connect them to what the horrors of war are like.
Just watching it, I know that it's always a challenge for women to do anything that they dream to do. Less so today, but obviously that was a time when it was much more difficult, and I'd like my daughter to understand the history of that, because this is a time when so many more opportunities are available, but it's not completely even, and it would be good for her to see what she can dream.